Pinuputol po namin ang ulat ni Sam Ramirez para ihatid sa inyo ang ceremonial kick-off ng paghahanda ng Pilipinas para sa ating pag-host ng 2015 Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation Summit hosting. Pangungunahan po yan ni Pangulong Aquino. Panoorin po natin.
By going to the regions, we likewise will be making a very important point. As the global spotlight on different locations around the country, our guests will discover a consistency in the high standards of professionalism and high quality of skills, talent, and creativity of our people. As our partners, we share with you the lineup of the major APEC meetings and support events for 2015. Again, as our partners, we encourage you to take part in inviting your international business contacts to come to our country to see how far we have come and how much further we can go. A pleasant evening to everyone.
Thank you very much once again, Secretary Gregory Domingo. Ladies and gentlemen, announcing the arrival of the President of the Republic of the Philippines, His Excellency President Benigno S. Aquino III.
Good evening once again, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the APEC Philippines 2015 national launch. To welcome us all to this momentous occasion, please give a warm welcome to the Secretary of the Department of Foreign Affairs, Secretary Albert F. Del Rosario.
His Excellency President Benigno S. Aquino III, Excellencies and members of the Diplomatic and Consular Corps, Honorable Executive Secretary Paquito Ochoa, fellow Cabinet Secretaries, distinguished members of APEC, Chief Executive Officers, colleagues in government, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. We're indeed privileged to have His Excellency the President join us for this historic event, marking the APEC 2015 Philippine National launch. On this momentous occasion, Secretary Domingo has invited me to share with you a few words on what's in store for the Philippines next year when we host APEC for a second time. First and foremost, the Philippines' growth story is one that we all know very well. In fact, many of its distinguished authors are here with us today. We all have been witness to the economic growth in the country, which through increased trade and investment created larger markets and in turn translated into more opportunities for the Filipino people. Written on the tablet of transparency and good governance, the Philippines' growth story, above all, is about the pursuit of inclusive growth and transformative leadership. The President has said that each leader's primary responsibility is to take care of the well-being of his people and to ensure that all citizens share in the benefits of inclusive growth. It is this commitment to our people that we bring to APEC 2015. Inclusive growth means creating jobs, integrating the population into economic and social mainstream, and reducing poverty. In short, no one should be left behind. At this chapter in our growth story, the Philippines is primed to demonstrate to the world and its fellow APEC economies that beyond riding on its own economic momentum and building on what it has achieved, the Philippines can contribute to regional economic integration by sharing the Philippines' growth story with APEC. Placed in the unique position of being in the APEC driver's seat, the Philippines looks to expanding inclusive growth within and outside one's boundaries. This can be realized through better policies that support small businesses, science and technology-based education, and structural reform for sustainable and resilient growth. Embracing President Aquino's vision of good governance as good economics and his continuing mantra that good governance is the new normal in the Philippines, we envision APEC as a region of dynamic economies that is open to reform for the greater good. In line with the APEC's growth strategy and President Aquino's administration's reform agenda for inclusive growth, the Philippines will work towards 4 priority areas: investing in human capital, fostering SMEs' participation in regional and global markets, building sustainable and resilient communities, and enhancing the regional economic integration agenda, including by way of greater connectivity through trade and services. Next year, when the Philippines chairs APEC 2015 under the leadership of our President, we look to APEC's continued strategic relevance both as a process and a platform in shaping the Asia-Pacific's evolving economic environment. We envision a region that must collectively work together towards our common goals of shared prosperity and inclusive growth for all. The Philippines is ready to host APEC in 2015. I invite you all to take part in adding meaningful chapters to the Philippine growth story, which President Aquino's administration has written hand in hand with the enlightened business community who continue to drive APEC's agenda. APEC 2015 is a great reminder for us all that we, as resilient economies, as enlightened businesses, and as responsible citizens, can collectively define and shape our future. Looking forward to seeing you all in 2015. I thank you.
Thank you very much, DFA Secretary Albert Del Rosario. And now to introduce our guest of honor and keynote speaker, please welcome the Honorable Executive Secretary Paquito N. Ochoa Jr.
Honored guests, dear friends, let's welcome the President of the Republic of the Philippines, His Excellency Benigno Simeon Aquino III.
Thank you. Please be seated. Secretary Albert De Rosario, Excellencies of the Diplomatic Corps, Executive Secretary Paquito Ochoa, Secretary Greg Domingo, Secretary Mar Rojas, Secretary Babe Singson, Secretary Cesar Purisima, Secretary Junabaya, Secretary Mario Monteo, Secretary Yasmin Busran-Lao, Director General Emmanuel Villanueva. I mentioned all of you because I'm expecting 1,000% effort starting next month, if I understand correct. Governor Joey Salceda, Governor Abed Garcia, members of the APEC Business Advisory Council, local government officials present, partners from the business community, fellow workers in government, honored guests, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. 1 week from now, my mistake, not 1 month from now, 1 week from now, you will be demonstrating the 1,000% effort. The first visitors for APEC 2015 will set foot in our country, and the Philippines will have the distinct privilege of hosting the next chapter in one of the largest joint efforts to improve trade and cooperation amongst major economies. Here within our communities, leaders from government and the private sector will map out the future of the Asia Pacific. This gathering's significance is magnified when one considers that in a world where many economies are reeling from uncertainty, Asia-Pacific economies have, for the large part, sustained a relatively good level of growth. In fact, Southeast Asia in particular has been identified as one of the world's most promising regions. It is for this reason that the Philippines has chosen to orient this year's APEC towards making certain that this growth has tangible effects on the lives of all our peoples. This explains our theme, building inclusive economies, building a better world. I'm confident that with our country's remarkable turnaround in recent years, our story and our experiences can certainly enrich the discussions on this topic. Since our administration took office, the Philippines has undergone a significant transformation. Guided by the belief that an empowered private sector is the best engine for growth, we have worked in constant pursuit of a macroeconomic environment more conducive for investments. Today, the major fiscal foundations are in place and will help to attract even more businesses to set up shop and expand in the Philippines. The world's major credit ratings agencies have manifested their confidence in us by unanimously granting us investment-grade ratings last year. We have reason to believe that there is more to come. In a conversation I had with the CEO of Moody's, he told me that it was very rare for a country to receive a credit ratings upgrade together with a positive outlook. This is all happening at a time when these same credit ratings agencies are being more conservative with their assessments. These developments have resulted in lower interest rates for private sector companies and longer terms that were not available in the past. Perhaps the revitalization of our business environment can best be seen in the progress of our public-private partnership program. So far, during our term, we have been able to award and sign off on 8 solicited PPP projects for a total value of 62.6 billion pesos or $1.3 billion. This is more than 6 PPP projects completed by the past 3 administrations combined. On top of this, as opposed to the past when the Philippines had to offer tremendous incentives onerous to the people just to entice companies to participate in the process, now we are being offered large premiums by companies just so that they can build the infrastructure we need because of their confidence in the potential for profit. This renewed confidence in the Philippines has been very apparent in the global community. Since 2010, we have improved 33 places in the World Economic Forum's Global Competitiveness Report, 49 places in the World Bank's Ease of Doing Business Report, and 40 places in Transparency International's Corruption Perceptions Index, among many others. The economic numbers justify their confidence. For instance, from 2010 to 2013, GDP growth has been recorded at an average of 6.3%. Compare this to 2006 to 2009, when the average was only at 4.3%. On top of this, despite the many challenges we have had to face, GDP growth over the first 3 quarters of 2014 has remained strong at 5.8%, with manufacturing continuing to be one of the main contributors. On average, growth since 2010 has been more industry and investment-driven as opposed to the past, when growth was disproportionately reliant on remittance-driven consumption. Today, we see a stark change as investments continue to flow in. widening the horizon of opportunities, empowering our domestic consumer base, and helping us grow more resistant to shocks in the global economy. Of course, true success cannot be measured by these numbers and distinctions alone. Rather, it can be seen in how these gains have become meaningful to our people. After all, the only real growth is inclusive growth, which has been the North Star of all our government's initiatives. It is this principle, for example, that has guided our massive investment in our conditional cash transfer program. Over the course of our administration, we have more than quintupled the scope of this program, going from just around 800,000 household beneficiaries to more than 4 million today. The deal is simple. The government will provide poor families with a monthly cash grant in exchange for pregnant mothers undergoing regular health checkups and children being sent to school, among others. This 2014, we actually expanded this program to include even families with children of high school age. As studies have shown that high school graduates earn significantly more than those who only finish at the grade school level. This dovetails seamlessly with our effort to improve education. As more and more children are attending school, we are making sure that the quality of education they receive is improved. Since our administration began, the budgets of our departments of education and the Technical Education and Skills Development Authority have been substantially increased. Last year, we ended the inherited resource gaps that have long stunted the development of our education sector. A look at the magnitude of the backlogs only emphasizes the achievement of Education Secretary Armin Luistro. 66,800 classrooms, 61.7 million textbooks, and 2.5 million school seats. TESDA has likewise put in a marvelous performance under the leadership of Secretary Joel Villanueva. Through the Training for Work Scholarship Program, we are equipping our people with the necessary skill sets to capitalize on the opportunities that are becoming increasingly available. The efficacy of this program has been greatly improved during our administration, with the general employment rate of graduates going from 28.5% between 2006 to 2008 to almost 70% in 2012. Might I add that in some industries where private sector participation in training is high, this number has reached almost 96%. Interventions such as this have equipped our labor force with the skills to be more competitive, whether in the country or in the global community. This is especially significant given that our country will be entering a demographic sweet spot next year, which means that majority of our population will be of productive working age. This is inclusive growth, where economic progress enables the betterment of our peoples, and where those empowered peoples can open the doors wider to even greater progress, spurring a virtuous cycle of empowerment and continuous development. More than 2 decades ago, when we last hosted APEC, the Philippines was considered one of the world's most promising economies. In the span between then and now, however, there were moments when many of us wondered if our country's potential had been completely squandered by self-serving leadership. Thankfully, the Filipino persevered. Today, I am proud to say that in the past 4 years and 5 months, with the help of our people, we have turned the corner. We have won back the recognition, the respect, and the confidence of the global community. This 2015, visitors from APEC economies will witness for themselves the vibrancy of an inclusive and growing nation. In Manila and beyond, they will have the opportunity to experience locations around our country that largely contribute to the dynamism and rich culture of the Philippines. They will encounter our greatest resource, our people, who are kind, compassionate, and talented beyond measure, and they will see for themselves an archipelago connected through a web of inclusiveness. As the clamor for progress that leaves no one behind resounds the world over, the Philippines has the opportunity to set a global example of inclusivity this year. We are rising and will continue to rise to that challenge. Thus, I call on everyone here, let us show the best of our country and what it has to offer. Let us all strive to continue being a prominent example of how economic growth should be. Let us work together to show how we are building inclusive economies and thus building a better world. Thank you. Good evening.
2015, the Philippines will once again be at the center of attention of the global community as we host the APEC Forum. This is our opportunity to show the world what we have achieved together and how we can soar higher as one.
Every year, for the past 25 years, 21 economies in the Asia-Pacific region gather in one forum to advance free trade and economic cooperation. Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation. APEC member economies have been working together to boost sustainable growth and prosperity that delivers greater opportunities to more people. In 2015, the Philippines has once again been given the distinct honor of hosting the annual APEC meeting. This is our chance to showcase what we have achieved together and show the world how great the Filipino spirit is. Tonight, we unveil the symbol by which our collective effort shall be known. APEC Philippines 2015. Building inclusive economies. Building a better world.
Ladies and gentlemen, presenting the official logo of APEC Philippines 2015. Building inclusive economies. Building a better world. His Excellency President Aquino to please remain on stage for a photo op together with the cabinet secretaries. The members of the APEC to please join the President on stage. Thank you very much, Mr. President. Ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the APEC Philippines 2015 national launch. Thank you for being part of this milestone. Enjoy the rest of the evening.
Napanood po natin ang live video mula po sa Makati ng national launch ng APEC Philippines 2015 kung saan naging keynote speaker po ang Pangulong Aquino. Ibinida ng Pangulo ang mga economic gains ng ating bansa nitong mga nakaraang taon at umaasa siya na ang inclusive growth na ito ay makikita ng mga dadalo sa nalalapit na APEC Summit. Umaasa rin ng Pangulo na magiging halimbawa ang ating bansa sa buong mundo ng inclusive growth.